All right, hello everyone, and welcome to another Noita wand building guide. This is going to be another like long form, full run, where I just kind of go over my thought process as I play through the game. Hopefully that'll be helpful for people. This is a part 2, I guess, if you're counting the first one. So if you haven't seen that one, feel free to go look at that one first. We've got the new patch, on Noita. The devs are back. They're doing their thing, and it's really exciting. We've got a couple new spells here, some of which are great, some of which are good, some of which are meh. Hopefully we'll get a chance to use those. We've also got some bug fixes. Dupe around, find out is referring to perk duping. They have made it so there's a very good chance you are infinitely polymorphed into a sheep, or permanently polymorphed into a sheep, if you do the polymorph method. It's a high risk. So the first dupe is free, assuming you can deal with Steven. The second dupe is a 50-50, and they're all 50-50s from that point on whether you're permanently polymorphed or not. Very interesting. Better interaction with no wand tinkering and tinker with wands everywhere perks. So no wand tinkering makes it so you can't tinker with wands. Tinker with wands everywhere makes it so you can tinker with wands anywhere. Wow. If you stack 2 Tinker with Wands everywhere, it'll cancel out no wand tinkering. If you stack 2 no wand tinkering, you'll never be able to tinker with wands everywhere. And if you've got them evenly, if you hold out a tinker stone from like the Master of Masters, you will be able to edit wands everywhere as opposed to just in the shop. There's like a bunch of weird little interactions. It's a very minute thing. I would never recommend picking up no wand tinkering, but this makes gamble perk a lot better on long runs, so, it's kind of a thing. Kind of cool. Luki Minion is slightly more powerful. This is really cool and nice. Luki's been really bad for a long time. I've played around with this a little bit. You can't lose Luki Minion anymore, and they're a little bit better at, like, aggressing. I think that this perk is actually pretty worthwhile now, a lot of the time. So yeah, play around with Luki Minion. Spells can now be dropped from inventory at all times. This is really cool. This is just a really nice quality of life change. And, yeah, I think it really helps for when you don't find edit wands everywhere early enough in a run. Like, for example, if you go out to go and kill a boss and your inventory's full, it sucks to have to run back and forth to pick up the spells. So that's nice. Spell drop rates rebalanced. This is probably the most interesting change of all. This completely changes the game in very subtle ways, and we don't know exactly what the numbers are here, and I'm interested to see how this plays going forward. Explosive Bounce's radius is increased. Explosive Bounce is one of the weaker spells in the game. I'm glad to see it slightly improved. And, of course, there's some more bug fixes in Lua, and good stuff. Alright, anyway, let's get into the run. It's already 3 minutes deep, and we haven't played the video game yet. Let's do it. First off, I want to make sure I have no mods on. Let's do one of these. Perfect. And we're good to go. Let's go ahead and get started. There we go. There's a funny bug right now where all of your mod XML folder is rendered every single frame when you hover over any of those game modes. It's really weird and kind of bad because I've got way too many mods. Hopefully the devs will fix that pretty soon. But yeah, we're going to do another normal run of Noita. I've got a lot of different ideas based off of the first video on ways I can take this series. And I'm going to go ahead and talk over a couple of those. And please comment down below what you would like to see specifically. So, some of the options that have come up that I'm really interested in, actually. Hang on, let me make sure the music's going. There we go. Some of the options that have come up are, I could take people's seeds that they've died on, if they think they've got a hard seed, and I could play that. This is a great wand, by the way. 10-7 with an energy sphere. Energy sphere kills most things on the first floor in one hit, and this wand shoots at a pretty quick rate, which is super nice. We're definitely going to be using that. So yeah, we could do that. I was also considering doing challenge runs, so I could do, like, how to win Pacifist. Like, what's my thought process for that? How to get to parallel worlds, how to beat all the bosses, And maybe even some of the longer quests. I could do Sun Quest. I could do 33 Orb. I'd be game for all that, but that tends to take a really long time. I'd be okay with that if you guys are up for a long video. Just let me know. But on top of that, I could also add in mods that make the game more challenging, but remain vanilla spells. So that way you can still see what's going on with that. You know, there's a whole bunch of different options. But that said, I think I will choose one of those to do right now. And I think we'll go with... Let's go to a parallel world. I'm going to go to a parallel world on this run. So if you wanted to see like how to get into a parallel world, or how to like start doing parallel world content, which is one of the best ways to get stronger in Noita. That's how you get to new game pluses. When you're strong enough, that's how you complete multiple of the end game quest lines. You know, the step one is getting to a parallel world. So let's go ahead and put a focus on that. And no matter what happens, I will have at least one way to get into a parallel world. Because I've, you know, played this game enough where I will be able to force that one way or another. And if you like this concept, you know, let me know. Like I said, there's so many different angles I can take for this, and it's really nice. So we've got our first wand decision of the game. Bouncing Burst is pretty strong as a scaling tool, but it's kind of bad on its own. I'm just going to keep in mind that it's here, and I can always come back for it if I really want it. If you're wondering why this wand up here wasn't even a choice, it's because 1.5 second recharge time. The dynamite's actually kind of nice. It's really good digging, but I care mostly about having a no-shuffle wand. That's just super helpful. Spark Bolt is a strong early game spell. I mean, it's a strong spell all game long because it augments so well due to how cheap it is, but I like to try and avoid it because you all know what a Spark Bolt wand looks like. I'm going to continue trying to avoid spells like that for my runs, unless I'm kind of force-fed one of those sort of runs. We'll see. But another idea I actually had was that maybe we should ban out spells of certain spells from the run as I carry on. There's so many different ways we can do this. We're at 400 gold. Last time I left at 1,200 gold. We're going to leave... Actually, I don't know if it was 1,200. It was somewhere around that. We're going to leave a little bit earlier this time because I do want to show what it's like when you get, like, forced down early. By the way, we haven't taken any damage yet, which is actually really nice. Nice that we haven't taken any damage yet. I'd like to have enough gold to just, like, buy a couple of things. And right now, I can buy, like, one wand. I like being able to buy 2 wands. I think 2 wands is a really good spot to be going into the first floor. Or into the first building, that is. I'll go ahead and tablet this guy. I missed. That's okay. That's okay. Sometimes you miss a tablet here and there. What do we have over here? Another wand. Ooh. So this is a really good thing to scout. I can't teleport back up on the first floor without risking death because of this lava lake here, which is really, really important to make note of. It's so easy to just get yourself completely killed by teleporting back up into a biome. I do it all the time, both teleporting up and finding out that if I teleport up, I'll die. Either one of those. They both happen with reasonable regularity. This guy is he's a survivor, but did manage to get him. It's a pretty snazzy movement there. Managed to get away with it. Okay, so we've got 600 gold. I'm happy. I'm ready to go. It should be like a wand and a half. This formation up here is interesting. I'm gonna go look at it. I feel like there's a chance of a treasure chest spawning around here, but it doesn't look like there is. I did find another wand spawn, though. Note that spells that have multiple damage types actually cause enemies to bleed more. So, our energy sphere has slice damage and physical damage, which means that enemies will bleed extra, essentially, because they'll be taking 2 damage types. Got another wand over here. This one's with dynamite and it's a no-shuffle. I prefer this one over this one entirely. Of course, the recharge time is better. Castellay's not that really a super significant concern. I'm going to get rid of the spark bolt because, like I said, I'm not really that interested. Oh, would you look at that? Here I was about to leave, and there's so many more resources to be found on this first floor. It's one of those things where if you take your time, you're really rewarded in Noita. That said, I do think there is something to going at a quicker pace as well. Not that that is my intention for this run. There we go. We've got a mix of mud and water. Mud is really good. You can do a lot of dumb stuff with mud in the early game. But I don't really have any need to on this run. Maybe we'll do that on a future one. We've got luminous drills, chainsaws, double spell, light, fireball, orbit, spitter timer, loads and loads of really good spells. And we've also got invisibility. Invisibility is maybe one of the best perks in the entire game, and it would probably be really silly if we wanted to show it off. So we're going to do that. Shuffle Yes is generally very bad, but we could make this wand pretty consistent by doing something along this line, for example. That's not too bad. So it's going to pick between these 5 spells each time. And we used this trick in the last video as well. So I'll go over it very briefly. You go into inputs and configure controls. You can see mouse wheel down is set to next item, previous item, and use wand. And basically every time you shoot, swap off a wand, and then come back, it will have reset the recharge of whatever given wand, because it sends it back to the very start of your casting order. Regardless of whether it's a shuffle wand or not, it doesn't matter. So, yeah, we can use this as a pretty quick firing wand. I don't really want to do that this time around. I don't think it's necessary. Not to mention, I think it's pretty strong compared to what you might end up with on the first floor. So I think we're going to go with, instead, just a couple energy spheres. And this double spell is definitely really high value. And that's all of our money. Bubble sparks are pretty cool, so we'll keep a couple of those. Keep in mind with the change on this current version of the game, I can very easily just drop spells if I've got too many of them. But we've still got a couple open inventory slots just in case. And yeah, I'm just dropping these wands that aren't very good and trying to keep the ones that I find to be decent. This one just doesn't really have the space to work with as far as I'm concerned, and this one has a rather terrible always cast. You could make this always cast work if you had a hollow egg, because it completely bypasses the check for spread. In fact, does that work on... I think that might work on dynamite as well. Yeah, so you can do the same thing with dynamite and bombs and a couple of other different things. Basically like a spell where the speed of the spell is based on the distance of the mouse from the character, like dynamite, hollow egg, bomb. There's a couple of them. It'll completely bypass the accuracy check, so you don't have to worry about spread with those. But hollow egg also doesn't care about the overwhelming majority of modifiers, so that's a whole thing. Hopefully that's useful to somebody. Okay, so if I were going for like tippy top strats, it might look something like this. Let's take a look at this. You know what? We're not going to have the recharge reduction to make this work. It's kind of cute, but it's really not making it. Maybe with this. That might be my best bet, actually. You know, we're going to go with that. That's fine. If I were to put that on this Shuffle Yes wand, I guess I'll show what that looks like. It'll occasionally shoot quick, but then it'll run out of mana. It's just a little more inconsistent. I think either one of these wands is a fine option, but we're going to go with this for now. It's pretty strong for this floor, but I don't think it's over strong. We're going to go ahead and get rid of this wand. It'd be useful with like a digging bolt that's 0 mana, obviously, but other than that, it's not terribly useful. By the way, Bubble Spark slaps insanely hard on this wand. Take a look at this. That's kind of nuts. That's kind of nutty. Anyway, we've got invisibility, which means we don't have to worry about Stevens. One of these runs, I want to do a run where I never return to any of these holy mountains. I think that would be a fun, restrictive run. But that said, this time around, we will probably take our time and make sure that we use every advantage we can get. So this first Steven will be able to get the jump on me because I will be visible. But, oh. Yeah, I wasn't entirely certain what he was going to do there. That's interesting. We took a couple hits there because I was a little bit confused by his movement. I've never seen him do exactly that. But invisibility in the future will make it so. As long as we're invisible coming into the room where he's at, he won't be able to shoot at us, which will be really handy. I think we'll keep this around for some digging. I'm not going to worry about the bubble spark stuff because this wand should have more than enough damage. Once again, welcome to the coal pits. Definitely one of the nicer levels in the game for getting powerful. I'm going to show off why invisibility is really strong. You can throw stuff while you're invisible, which is just stupid unfair. It's unbelievable how good it is. Note that you can't kick while you're invisible. That will bring you out of visibility. Any stain will bring you out of visibility as well. But, you know, these guys are all just free money for me if I want to do it this way. And it's very, very strong. So this is a little world puzzle. You can see that there's a cloud up at the top, which is the hint. We need to generate a bunch of smoke to activate this. And we do have Fireball Orbit, which would be a pretty easy way of generating a bunch of smoke. So let's go back and do this little thing, because I'm pretty sure we'll get a fairly nice wand out of the deal. And yeah, I think if we can show off some of these puzzles, that would be good. I really like that they added in these little puzzles. I'd love to see more of them. I wonder if... I know there's like Alchemy Tutor as a mod that sort of adds in more stuff kind of like that. What we're going to do is we're just going to do this, and now we should be able to shoot at a pretty reasonable rate. Need to be careful with the fire, though. Fireball Orbit is notorious for setting yourself ablaze. Pretty annoying in that regard, because it's definitely going to be anti-synergy with invisibility, since we want to stay moisturized while using Fireball Orbit. Note that Fireball Orbit can actually trick kill occasionally. I can't recall exactly how that mechanic works. If you do know how, feel free to comment down below, and I'll pin it. But basically, the way it works is if the projectile dies, the Fireball Orbit explodes, and then you essentially get... hang on, let's drink some concentrate here. And you can see the smoke is building up. So the projectile dies, the Fireball Orbit no longer has ownership, and then because of that, it counts as a trick kill, because it's like it's no longer earned by you. There we go, so we got a wand. This is a knockback one. This is just a joke. This is a literal prank. That wand has 2 capacity. I can't really make any good use of that. Knockback is just not something you really want against enemies, pretty much ever. It's something that you can use against yourself pretty well. I feel like it's more effective against the player than it is against enemies in most cases. Like, literally only fish take knockback, or like, they take fall damage, right? So I guess you could use it against a fish if you didn't want to deal any damage and also kill a fish somehow, which would be kind of weird. Yeah, it's a very specific situation. Normally this wand actually has more capacity, but, you know, a little unlucky this time around. Anyway, one thing I should show. So, like, that's the speed that it's firing with that. You can see if I move the chainsaw, it's shooting a lot slower. That's because the magical property is that it reduces the cast delay of this wand down to 0. So you can see it's got a 0.38 cast delay. We're stuck on recharge if I put it in the back. That's our limiting factor, alongside our mana, of course. We're on 71 HP, which is a lot. That's plenty of HP to clear over to Fungal Caverns, especially with invisibility. I could theoretically do this whole floor with invisibility if I wanted, but I don't really feel the need to do that. That seems a little bit overkill. It's important to kill things, even while invisible, because you can get yourself in a lot of trouble if you stack up enough enemies. One of the big things to note is, like, enemies bleed. That's one of the scariest things that you have to be worried about. Wow, that's a funny one. This has some potential. That's a really dangerous always cast, but we got damage up off of it, which is nice. And, yeah, we're probably going to be able to do some really interesting stuff with that, I imagine. I hope. Hey, here's one of the new spells, Sparkly Bounce. It's a really cheap modifier that does a little bit of damage if it hits near the enemy. We're going to take that one because it's actually got some really nice stuff. This little tile here has a chance of a treasure chest or heart spawning in it. We didn't get either of those, but that's okay. Not too worried about that. I'm going to go over and grab or upgrade our wand. This new wand that we just picked up is spectacular because it's got inverse mana. You can see it's got only a max mana of 56 and mana charge speed of 255, which is incredibly high value when you are lacking in mana. If you ever want to make a good machine gun wand, keep an eye out for wands that are like this. They are all over the place, and they are one of Noita's greatest blessings, that's for sure. It's funny because these were added so late into the game. All the early access players just adore these wands. They're really, really nice. And, yeah, Bouncing Burst is pretty cheap, but it's not the greatest damage. I'll hold on to one. Double spells are really high value. I'll show off Sparkly Bounce really quick. It's really nothing to write home about. Especially since the bounces currently cannot stack on the current version of the game. You can see it's doing 24 damage. That's like closer to double the damage that it would deal because the statue has some weird properties. But yeah, it's like kind of a thing. It's kind of a I'll hold on to it for now. Maybe I'll use it. We'll see. I kind of doubt it though. Anyway, if we want to optimize our damage, we're going to be looking to build in for the cheapest spells possible. And something like this is kind of looking like it, and then maybe one of these. You can see we're running out of mana, but we're able to shoot pretty quick. The big problem with Bubble Spark is it's going to get stopped in its tracks if Fungal Caverns has humidity. Humidity, which is one of the biome modifiers. And Bouncing Burst would lose a lot of its damage due to deceleration. There are certain spells that deal increased damage based on velocity, and the intended mechanic of that is that they're supposed to do less damage with decrease in velocity, but accelerating shot actually kind of turns that mechanic on its head. So normally you hear about Bouncing Burst doing incredible damage. Energy Sphere is another one. But they also have the reduced damage effect as well, which is kind of funny. Let's reduce our spread a little bit, because that's probably a good idea. And I think this wand's really nice. This wand's super dangerous. I'm going to keep a couple of these on me. I want to keep this wand. I think it's really good, but I don't know when I'm going to use it yet. We'll see. So yeah, now this wand has a little bit of digging potential with the chainsaw, and the pace at its shot pace is pretty good as well. I'm going to drop this wand because it's definitely the top one to leave my inventory at this point. The biggest problem that I have right now is I've got too many good things, which I guess is a quality problem to have. But we'll probably just grab one good wand out of Fungal Caverns and then go. I'll leave that full heal up at the very top because I don't think I need it. With invisibility, we're just so safe. We're so ridiculously safe, it's not even funny. You can play pretty heavily around it as long as you're aware of the materials around you that'll stain you. That's the big ticket. Gotta be careful like that. There's another wand over here, but we're back to being invisible. There we go. Quick little assassination. Words are hard. Not entirely certain where I ended up. Oh man, that's a wand, and it's from a chest. Oh no. Oh man. Yep, that happens sometimes. That's a Noita right there. That's fine. I think the best thing to do in a situation like this is just click new game, you know? Whenever it lets me do that. I'm currently stuck on Nightmare. Hang on. Frick. It's broken. Give me a second. My game won't let me hit new game. Okay, here we go. It's lagging out. Hang on. This is very silly. All right, and we're back. It just kind of broke. I don't know what happened there. That Noita being goofy. It's that bug I was talking about earlier. Anyway, I think what I'll do is I will like giga speed through this first floor and then we'll just go ahead and start back up once I've cleared 2 fungal, and then we'll go from there. So for this quick little area, I decided to run through the first level a little bit faster than I did the first time. If you prefer just a single run, let me know. I guess in the future I would just cut out my dead run. And yeah, that would be good to know what you guys think about that. I'll shut up for a sec here while I just have a little monologue. Here's a fun little trick. You can befriend these fire Stendaris with the Firestone, and they won't attack you. It's not the most useful thing in the world, but on occasion, you know, it can help. Yeah, I can just hang out right next to him, slowly dying to the water. Need a little bit more, though. Swamp burns away, and that's what he's currently burning. Hopefully we can get enough water on him and get a little bit of trick money. Maybe we'll just use a little acid. Oh, there we go. That worked. Jumped at me briefly when I put away the stone. Alright, so back to fast forwarding. But yeah, I guess while we're going through this, I'll talk a little bit about my mentality when playing Noita. And why I can just like brush off deaths like that. It's one of those things. I think you get it from just playing lots of roguelikes or games that are really punishing. And I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, have that sort of mentality too. But know that if you do like struggle to click new game, all you have to really think about is like, you know, that next run, it's gonna be even better than your last. Your best run is never behind you until you stop playing Noita entirely. And it's kind of a beautiful thing to think about, that you'll always have another really great run coming up. And oh yeah, since this is like a post commentary, by the way, and it's a little bit further in the future, we now have some more patches in Noita than when this video played. So I'm probably going to be doing some quest lines that they're adding in, which is super exciting. The fish quest is a pretty good time, and it's a nice early game quest. So, you know, if you haven't done like any of your moon quests or any of those quests yet, I would say that it's about in line with those, so we'll probably do that quest line sometime in the near future here. But yeah, you can see me just clearing through the second floor here. It was a real pain in the butt this time, specifically because I didn't really allow myself any digging, and the entire left path was just cut off to me because just unlucky level generation. But with a little bit of patience, I'm able to like burn through some coal here, and eventually I am able to make it over toward fungal. But I was definitely able to generate like a lot of extra money thanks to just having to clear the right, essentially, because I've been waiting for this dang coal pile to burn forever. But yeah, I'm about to go back to the live commentary, so I guess that's all for future past me. Enjoy the rest of the video. All right, and we're back. Hello, everybody. So yeah, I just quickly sprinted through as quick as I could to get back to Fungal Caverns. We've got a fresh run going here. Melee immunity. We got an early teleport in the Holy Mountain, which is super nice for mobility, but we are lacking digging. I just grabbed this out of Fungal Caverns. Very nice wand. It's gonna need some little adjustments here and there, but overall it's pretty good. One thing I'd like to say is melee immunity is maybe one of the best perks in the entire game, if not the very best perk in the entire game. At the earliest point of the game, this floor, it just completely obsoletes a lot of the most dangerous enemies, and it does so again in the jungle, which is you know, it's not a super difficult floor, but the jungle is a great place to stick around, and any way to extend that HP bar through the form of immunity is super handy. You can see a lot of the enemies that I'm fighting here I'm just completely immune to, and I don't even have to worry about, which is super duper nice. Never open this treasure chest, it will kill you. Extremely not worthy, or not worth doing that. These teleport mages, they're not going to get me again. At least I certainly hope not. It was a long walk back to think about what I did wrong and that engagement, and the only thing that I can really come up with is I probably should have just either instantly picked up the wand or just, like, backed up entirely and let them have the wand and not shoot at them. The problem with the backup method is if they happen to have nuke on that wand, I'm just dead. And if you're wondering why I knew that was a really dangerous wand, it's because it was from a treasure chest, which is why it had no pedestal and why it was of a substantial size. So yeah, I would call that anointed personally, but you can be the judge on that. Maybe it's a skill issue. I'm sure there are players who would have survived that engagement. Unfortunately, I wasn't one of them. But that's okay, because Noita is all about rolling with the punches, and I don't mind a death here or there. You know, Noita is a game about dying, right? And if you can take anything from any of those individual deaths, you will come out a stronger player than you were before. And also, the next run tends to be better than the last a lot of the time. At least I find. Noita can be pretty generous. But yeah, you know, pretty good run so far. We've got some decent wands. This wand, by the way, despite it being an inverse mana wand with a double spell, actually because of that double spell, it might be worthy of taking. Pretty tempting. But I don't really want to get rid of any of the wands that I currently have. And because of that, let's go back and empty off some of these wands. And then we will rebuild a little bit stronger and come back. I had a heck of a time getting over here because my setup has a distinct lack of digging. But teleport, thankfully, has a little bit of ability to dig through these coal veins, which is super nice. It's a pretty light material, and thanks to that, teleport does have the ability to sneak through. So if I wanted to, I could even get through this here if I wanted, but I think we'll try to use a little bit of the concentrated light and acid here to sneak through this part, because that's a lot of digging for a poor little teleport bolt. Unless you've got glass cannon or berserkium, that teleport bolt explosion radius is rather small. We're gonna take those because those are both really good. This wand is fine. It's not amazing. By the way, we did get a chest with a recoil in it. That would be a good alternate movement source. Could probably do something like this and have some pretty nice movement overall. I'll keep it with me. Recoil is a good alternative movement style, and we'll consider it for the future. This one's already pretty good, by the way. Not too bad. Heavy spread reduces by 0.25, so technically I could do a spell wrap like this, and if we didn't run out of mana, we'd be able to shoot pretty fast. Maybe if I go down to a cheaper spell, because these cost 30, and I've got a couple 20s. Let's see how this plays. We're still running out of mana pretty heavily, so let's not worry about trying to spell wrap this, because clearly we don't have the mana regen for it. That said, concentrated light will fare beautifully for this next area, so I'm not going to worry about that at all. That should be good to go. I can put light on at the end, or torch on at the end here to get an extra cast, so rather than casting 3, we'll cast 4, because the passives give a draw. 1, 2, 3... There's 4. You can see it's got that torch plus the light at the end. These are not that great. We're gonna dump these. Just don't need saw blades in my life. This thing has huge spread, which is gonna be bad for a teleport bolt. I prefer faster recharge time for my teleport bolt. It makes it just a lot more responsive. So I think we're gonna leave that one behind. And I guess we'll just go with 2 wands for now. My lack of digging is definitely a bit of a problem. Earlier, if you're paying attention to the fast forward, assuming I got the fast forward to go fast enough, but not too fast, you might have seen me digging with acid. Acid is an okay spell for digging in a couple situations, and one of the best spells for digging in a couple other situations. But against lighter materials, it's just really not the most effective way of going about it. There's so many really handy, useful things to use comparatively. Somebody's got a wand over here, and I'm a little bit alarmed. The swapper in there is also quite scary. Gonna take it. Oh my god, there's another one. Okay. Oh my god, everybody's got wands. I am freaking out. What is happening? This is very unusual. This is extremely unusual. This guy's so I don't see any particle effects coming off of the wand, which is one of the... Oh no, there is a particle effect. I'm not sure what that one is. Let's try to get some mana. There we go. Beautiful. So the mana exploded the mana exploded the thing that he had, the bomb there, and that managed to kill him. There's increased mana. Wow. That's great. So that's really, really useful. Obviously, we had that spell on the previous run before we lost it. Hopefully, be able to make use of it this time. By previous run, I mean in the previous video. Son of wait. Interesting. I'm sorry. I feel a little bit scatterbrained from my previous death and all the chaotic goings-on. I would recommend, if you see a bunch of enemies with wands, probably just cut your losses and leave. If you're worried about dying. If you're going for the win, an enemy with a wand is one of the easiest ways to lose. Keep in mind that we're melee mains, so I have to completely disrespect these frogs. There's no point for me to care at all. This wand is pretty large. It's going to be around like 8 to 10 of capacity, I imagine. 11. And it's got plasma beam cross on it. That's really good. Remember, if you get a plasma beam of any kind, that means you've got a free ticket to killing Pit Boss. And we may well just do that in the very near future here. Another teleport mage. They are the very top priority to kill, by the way, in case that wasn't clear. They are incredibly deadly. There's lots of ways they can get you killed. Teleporting you or just picking up a wand and, you know, just use your imagination at that point. Okay. Or I guess you don't have to. You've already seen an example. Okay, so let's grab one of these. We don't need more than that. And the double spell's great, too. This thing has terrible mana charge speed, but the recharge speed matters more. We're going to go ahead and dump this wand. And this wand's pretty good, but once again, it's just not good enough. We're going to be doing some shenanigans with heavy spread here. This is no chainsaw desperation hours, for sure. We'll see how we can do. But we should be able to double spell here, and then maybe we grab a spark bolt. Let's try with the magic arrow for now. Okay, let's try with the spark bolt. It's a little bit on the chaotic side, you could say. The heavy spread wrapping back around here is not as helpful as I was hoping. Another method could be this. Then we run out of mana. It's tempting to go with a chaotic shot style like this, but not having accuracy sucks pretty bad. I think having accuracy is more important than not, so we are just going to go with something a little bit simpler than that. And I guess we could do like one of these into one of these. I wonder if that would work. That helps a little bit, but we need heavy spread twice in order to get the fast fire rate, so that's not going to work. I think we'll just go with this. So this is going to shoot the two concentrated lights really rapidly. So that's 40 damage burst that you're seeing right there. So it might not look like much, but it's pretty good. It'll certainly do the trick for now. And let's try to get back into that biome and gather like one or two more things and then get the heck out, because we're a little bit low on health at this point. Torch is nice for being able to see through walls here. This biome, or this little spot, has a high chance of a heart or chest, so we're going to take advantage of that. It's pretty nice. But yeah, this run's cool because it's like really good, but it's also missing some of the things that makes it amazing. Oh, you know what? Concentrated light has a special interaction on it that I haven't mentioned yet. If you shoot an enemy with concentrated light, it will dissolve their body rather than leaving like a piece of meat. It'll turn it into like a powdery substance, which is you know, not exactly helpful in most cases, but in very niche cases it can be pretty useful. There's very few spells that actually do this dissolving effect. It's I believe only Venomous Curse, Intense Concentrated Light, and Concentrated Light that can do it. If there's any on that list that I missed, feel free to comment down below. I believe that's all of them, though. Pretty sure. Anyway, we've got a couple more enemies in this area with wands. Once again, of course, we are immune to melee, so we can just completely ignore all of that, thankfully. And I haven't had the chance to look at this wand yet, because before I had a lack of digging. Concentrated spells can dig a little bit. Or concentrated light, rather. I apologize. Get those names confused. Normally these guys are really scary, but not in this situation. We're going to stick to our rule of 44 HP and under is get out time in this biome. Because that is the explosion range that will kill you in one hit. But for now, we're looking pretty good. Of course, wands can reach much further than that, but I try not to worry myself to death over wands that could kill me instantly, because as it turns out in the game of Noita, you know, you're never truly safe. There's always a chance you're gonna get one-shot killed by something, and worrying about that just isn't worth it, in my opinion. Let's make a little bit of concentrated mana. That's a load of mushrooms. Note that the mushroom explosion damage can stack, so if you get hit by 2 mushrooms at a single time, that's 88 damage, which is obviously significantly worse than getting hit by just 1. This thing is following me around. You could see the humidity having its effect there. Let's see here. We're pretty deep into this level at this point. This is part of a little quest line. You can get high on there, and it'll start a little quest. Note that you can skip a lot of the order of those quests, though, if you already know what you're doing. But if you're interested in getting started on a quest without any spoilers, that's one of the places to go to do it. You can see here, we've got the 2 wands that are stacked up, and that thing has some juicy stuff on there. I'm glad that I ran the hell away when I had the chance, because both of those wands are very lethal to the player. This one in particular, because Death Cross is one of the few spells that will actually home to the player without any homing when an enemy shoots it. You might find that it'll also shoot at fish as well. It's a little bit of a weird quirk, but it's definitely a thing to keep in mind. But, yeah, I think we've pretty much gotten everything we can out of this biome. There might be, like, 1 or 2 more things. But, not liking the way this wall is looking. It's kind of very tricky to get through. But you can see that we've got 3,300 gold, which is just absurd. Slime Potion is, like, a rare opportunity. We're gonna take it, because that could help us make some Teleportatium. Teleportatium is amazing. And they don't just give it away anymore. Unstable Teleportatium potions are common, but Teleportatium potions literally don't exist outside of a few very rare cases, like the Potion Thrower, so that's just a whole thing to keep in mind. But, yeah, this floor, it has been thoroughly explored. I'm very pleased with what I've managed to gather. Let's see what the 3rd floor has in store for us. It's a fantastic passive. I love Energy Shield. I personally feel Saving Grace is the very best perk in the game. The better you get with it, or the better you get at the game, the more likely you are to proc it and live. So the funny thing about Saving Grace is you can reactivate it as many times as you want, as long as your HP is off of 1. So you could have like 1.5 HP and it'll proc and give you 60 frames of invincibility, which is just absurdly good. So we're definitely going to take that. You never know when... It just helps you make risky plays. It's great. Really fun. Got Critical Plus, which is kind of cute. This one's nice, but it's got the same problems as before. I'm interested to see what I can do here. This is one of my favorite spells in the game. We should definitely make room for that. Let's dump a bunch of spells that I feel are going to be outscaled very soon here. Soil's fun. I don't really have too much purpose for it currently, but I guess we could take it. Definitely a good one for if you're doing like a no-hit run or something. That's for sure. Do one of these. That first run today definitely could have been a no-hit run if I just decided to use the invisibility properly. Maybe I should have done that. Let's see here. Are there any other changes that I want to make? So we have a distinct lack of triggers. The only thing that we've got is this firebolt trigger, and the fact that it's limited makes it pretty unappetizing. But short-range homing and plasma beam cross has huge potential to kill a boss in the very near future. We're going to keep an eye out on that. This has a really, really strong always cast on it, but we don't have the recharge reduction to make it work. I'll keep in mind that this wand exists, but I'm going to leave it behind for now. And this wand, I think, is very much going to be the same story. We're going to focus on these two wands for the time being. And let's see if we can improve things a little bit with a spread reduction here on the cheek. And we're going to put a spark bolt here. And the purpose behind this spark bolt is that it's going to grant the 5% crit chance there to the concentrated light. So that's a global effect. All of the modifiers you see there are global effects if they're in the bottom. And you can see that it's like separated out from the damage. Like that speed is independent. It doesn't give everyone or everything else 140 speed. That's just its own thing. It's kind of difficult to read spells like that, but it is very much a thing to keep an eye out for. Let's grab a little bit of water and get into the next floor. Feeling pretty good. You know, I should grab some real-life water, too. Here we go. All right. Let us continue. You know what? I'm going to put the torch on my teleport wand. The reason why is because if I want to go up and get the Dark Cave HP, I will have easy access to that, and I won't have anything to worry about. This isn't the strongest wand I've ever had for this floor, but it is definitely more than sufficient. Concentrated Light is a spell definitely to keep an eye out for. It's a massive cast delay reduction. Can turn most wands into burst machine gun, which is pretty handy. Not to mention, its body erasing capabilities is, you know, it's not something to be slept on. It's pretty good. You can see that it gets stopped short by, like, liquids, which is pretty annoying. But that's yet another good reason to have the spark bolt on here. I heard that Uko. I think that's going to land. Okay. Just keep shooting him until he dies. That thing's going to blow. Be careful of propane tanks, always. They are very lame. You can see my Noita is just a tiny bit off today. It's me, it's not the character. I'm just not playing as cleanly as I should. We're on the wrong side of a smooching gorilla. This is a formation that often holds a treasure chest or heart. This time it is a treasure chest, which had some gold in it. Be careful when opening up treasure chests, obviously. It can be thunderstones. It's like a 1% chance or something like that. But this time we're good. Another slime potion. That's funny. Those are normally not terribly common. Here we're seeing 2 of them. One thing that I probably should have done to this wand to make it more consistent is I should have put my shield passive on my teleport wand. I tend to have my shield, or my teleport wand out more than my damage wand. I mostly only pull it out for combat. I think that that's a personal preference thing, but I definitely prefer to have it on my teleport wand. Right now, there's not really too much rhyme or reason to the way we're clearing this floor. Normally, I would recommend clearing to the right and then going from there. But I plan on clearing pretty much all this floor anyway. I'm just trying to, you know, go with how the geometry forces me to. Seeing as how we don't have super great digging, that just makes sense to me. But we can handle this floor pretty easily. Well, one thing you might want to do if you're not used to like all the dodging patterns, you want to keep a close eye on my movement because I find this is probably like one of the floors I get killed on very little from at least the Hisi. I feel like I see a lot of newer players get killed by the Hisi on this floor, and all you really have to do is pick a direction and keep moving in it, and they'll have a really hard time hitting you. It's a little bit scary. Got greedy for that gold, and I shouldn't have. Just got to make sure you stay well away from the walls that the Uko is firing at. You don't really have too much to worry about there. Basically, an Uko will pretty much never direct hit you unless they get like a crazy jump shot, which they can do if they're above you. But yeah, it's not really too bad once you've got the fight rhythm down. We got a rare treasure chest spawn in here, and a very interesting always cast. This one is liquid detonation. It even came with some water. And obviously this wand is amazing because it's got so much room for activities. That is a spectacular wand. If we can find... basically, it doesn't matter what the stats of this wand is as long as we can find a couple things to improve it. There's another Uko in here. Wowee. It's a scary place to be. I don't know if I want to go for that wand yet. I'm feeling super comfortable. Yeah. I'm gonna leave that guy for the time being. Maybe we'll come back around. For the time being, let's just focus on clearing. Gotta be careful because those structures will conduct electricity. We can get a pretty significant amount of money out of these rocks. I like to pick them and then immediately tablet them. But for now, I'm not gonna worry about that. Man, it is Uko Central. Going for the drop shots. Just gonna get right in his face with that shield. Wouldn't recommend doing that without a shield or like repulsion, for example, but I felt like that was probably the easiest way to deal with him. Just get right up in his face. We got another Uko somewhere around here. Man, got a little bit of a cursed day today by the seams of it. They want me dead. Which is fine. It'll make things all the more interesting, I'm sure. My tablet is my top priority. I don't care about the money. We've got 4,400 gold as it is. Don't want to go anywhere without that. It looks like this was my Uko in question. One little box there. Any form of electricity on this floor, I just assume is an Uko. And that tends to be the safest way to play it because they're the most dangerous enemy for the most part. Wow, here we go. There's another one. By the way, if you're interested in seeing me deal with Uko, I have a challenge run that I did a while back where every single enemy was Uko. It's kind of a fun one. I don't think too many people saw that one. And I also did another challenge run where every single enemy was Store Uko, which is Uko's big brother. That was pretty fun. This water can often contain electricity, so that was a little bit of a spooky play, but turned out all right. Turned out just fine. Gotta be a little bit careful with these things. They have a little bit of light homing. It's like a wandering homing. Ooh, look at that. Bloodlust. Kind of fun. It's a really good spell, and lightning is pretty fun too. Definitely got some interesting things to play with there. I kicked my tablet so hard it went right through him. It's lame. Not exactly what I wanted. We should be all the way to the right at this point. Yes, we are. Finally made it after all this time. I wasn't too worried about dodging that shotgun Hisi's shots because of my shield and my positioning. It was a bit of an awkward angle for him to get to me anyway. But you can see the passive shield is just amazing. The shield segment, by the way, is a lot stronger than the full-size shield. It's just pretty handy overall. These beautiful. I feel bad. I feel like I haven't had too much opportunity to talk about my ones just yet. If I'm missing anything and you're not picking up on something, please let me know. By the way, because I will be more thorough to catch that sort of thing in the next video. I guess we can talk about why I'm not super interested in this wand. Pollen is a pretty good spell. Personal Gravity Field is a pretty good spell. These are all pretty good spells. But I feel like I've got stronger stuff in my inventory right now, so I'm not terribly interested in any of those. This formation here can have a treasure chest or heart. It has neither. So we've got another Uko in play. That is a prodigious amount of Ukos. Just an unusual amount. Very dangerous. Just an enemy that you must approach with a little bit of respect, that's all. Not too bad. The teleport does help, though. I'm sure you've noticed that I use it a lot. I wouldn't be using it as much if it were a long teleport, by the way, because long teleport is exceedingly dangerous. Blind teleports with long teleport are so much scarier than blind teleports with short teleport. Just because the range is so different. I'm not going to have any way back up if I go down. Hey, there's a win. These guys can be set on fire, but you have to hit them in the face. Same thing with explosives. If you want to use explosives on them, you got to hit them in the face. But yeah, these guys have a 50-50 chance on a heart drop. Pretty nice. Let's see if we get it. Come on. No heart. You can see there's a really good example of that powdering effect that happens to enemies when they're killed by the concentrated light. Pretty interesting. Okay. I'm going to say that we've done all we can on this floor for the most part. So now we've got a difficult choice to make. We can go back up, and we can try to edit to make something really strong out of what we have, which isn't a lot, but it is something. Or we can try to go down and come back up later. Or we can try to kill the pit boss right now. And that's kind of what I'm leaning toward currently, is maybe I just go for a pit boss kill. But we do have a little bit more of this floor to check out. We could use like a timer. Any timer or hollow egg or anything like that would help out with the kill immensely. Hollow egg is probably one of my favorite tools to utilize for that specific kill. That's a lava potion. I'm just gonna pop that. You might notice that I explode pretty much every explosive I come across. It's not just for fun. It's actually really, really efficient to just get rid of anything that could damage you at a distance. Just make sure that you shoot it in such a way that it doesn't come flying at you. Digging Bolt is obviously one of the better spells in the game. Very interested in that. Anything that's zero cost and deals damage, and not to mention a unique damage type that every single enemy takes damage to, is pretty darn fancy. Though another thing to note about drill is that the drill damage is it's resisted by every single flying enemy, or nearly every single flying enemy. But that said, everybody takes damage to it, so it's kind of worth using anyways, because while resistance is not immunity, it's a whole nother thing. So very interesting to know. Be careful going close to this biome on the left here. You could just get blasted by a Taikasova. Is a living wand. Very, very dangerous. But, you know, fun. If you're really desperate, you can get some really great wands out of there if you've got a little bit of vision. I could go scrape up some of that worm blood and explore around in there for a couple good wands. Is that worth doing? Maybe. Not entirely certain. A little bit of a risky teleport with the swapper. Just ignore him for the time being. And we'll go for him once we're ready, which is now. This dude. There we go. I could have gone a little bit better, but it went well enough. Didn't take too much damage. Aha! Another wand. I figured there would be at least one or two more. We've got to keep in mind that we've got a drill kicking around here. And we've got two wands over here. Oh my goodness. Once again, blind teleports. A little bit risky. I'm definitely not playing like I would if I were trying to get like a 100% win rate. That's for certain. This wand is going to have to be approached from the other side, I think. If I want access to it, which is unfortunate. Very awkward. There we go. I don't know if we're going to be able to access this wand, actually. It might require a little bit of shenanigans. We are going to have to pull some shenanigans. wonder if I can get my tablet in a spot here where I can sort of cram myself into the wall. This is quite awkward. I'd love to look at this wand, but I don't know if I've got the tools to do it. There we go, that'll do it. Now I just mash WAD, and hopefully I can do that one more time. You can see here. You actually can't see my display for some reason. I'm just mashing WAD repeatedly, and now I can sneak in here. The wand wasn't useful, unfortunately. Electricity is pretty good. Lightning bolt is fine, but I never need more than one lightning bolt, essentially. It's pretty rare. But, you know, pretty good so far. Just no significant digging. Remember, the 3 wands I want, at least I want on every single run, are a digging wand, a damage wand, and a teleport wand. We've got our teleport wand and our damage wand, but our digging wand is very bad, to say it nice, to be honest. It's about as nice as I can put it. It's very ungood. Okay, we know that we're keeping this wand, so we're gonna dump all the concentrated light in with the fish. They can have a little snack. And we are going to do this, which is gonna be really weird. I think that this is the combo. Let's give it a little try. That'll kill the pit boss pretty smoothly, assuming that I can land that shot near it. It's gonna be kind of tricky to do that with my current tools, but I'm hoping it'll work out. We'll see. And let's go grab that drill wand really quick here. Could be over this way. Here we go. And I don't really care about the quadcast or the lightning bolt enough. I'm more interested in having some extra inventory space. Quadcast would be nice, but I will find more. Multicasts are fairly common, thankfully. I'll try and sneak through this wall here. It's probably not the fastest way through, but I'm doing my best here, okay? There we go. Beautiful. Let's jump on up here. Beautiful. And another double spell. Double spell is one of my favorite spells in the game. 0 cost for... when you get something for nothing, it's generally a good thing. It's pretty rare in Noita that getting something for nothing is bad. One thing I could do here, by the way, is I could leave behind this wand, probably. And then I wouldn't have to ferry 2 wands back and forth. But I'm not going to do that because I don't want to have to rely on this wand to kill anything that I may have missed on the way. So I'd rather just take 2 trips if I need to. If I get 2 really good wands from this boss. And that's assuming I survive, because it is a rather dangerous fight that I'm going to be going for. But, I think it's worth it. I think it's worth going for these dangerous fights to boost up your run. Because worst case scenario, you die and get some experience. Best case scenario, you save yourself, like, I don't know, a half hour of time. Which is pretty great. I love the sound of that. Time is precious. Get there and hope that works. Did not work. So now we're gonna have to relocate, I guess. We're gonna wait for him to do his hex attack. There we go. And now we're gonna fire directly and run. So that frame rate drop is probably a really good sign that we got him. So you can see that plasma shot just ripped into him. The plasma beam cross, it's got area damage, and it bypasses the shield of the boss, and basically whatever shot is fired into the boss will deal damage to it repeatedly, and so whatever shot is fired into the boss, it will take that shot and fire back at the player, so it does like a recursion thing with plasma, which is amazing. By the way, we got always cast null shot. Increase the projectile's duration dramatically, but remove all damage and explosion from it. This is a spectacular always cast. This is a really, really strong spell. And this is a beautiful wand. So that's great. And this wand is also pretty darn good. It's better than everything else that I've got. So we're going to dump this wand off the cliff here. And we will bring this with us. I'm going to bring Matosade, because right now it's my best digging tool in the entire, that I have access to. I'm hoping to change that. But for the time being, Matosade is our way into parallel worlds. Remember, our original goal is still to get into parallel worlds. I do apologize. This is probably going to be a bit of a longer video with the 27 minutes of me dying on the first run. But I don't want to, like, hide my deaths or anything. I think that, you know, it's important. I feel like you can learn from a death, too. In fact, you learn more from dying than you do from living, so... At least a lot of the time. Noita. This thing has 0.67 recharge time. This thing has way less recharge time, but I don't want to use this as my teleport wand because it would expand my it would make my teleport shoot further, which is just problematic. Really not what I want. Pentacast is not very good. Quadcast is great. This is great. Dump those. Keep the Hexa. Dump these. I'm not a super big fan of concentrated light bounce. It deals damage to the player, and it just doesn't do very much damage. It's just really bad. Hopefully they change it at some point, make it a teensy bit better. But let's go ahead and see what we can do here. So the interesting thing about Null Shot is that you can put a damage modifier after it, and then the thing will still deal the damage. That has some weird implications, but I wonder how that works as an always cast. I'm really not sure. So I think that it's important that we test it and find out ourselves. Bloodlust is going to be kind of scary on this thing, because Concentrated Light could find a way to bounce back to me, obviously. But hopefully that doesn't happen. We're going to use Purple Glimmer because it's really pretty, and it reduces my cast delay, which is great. The order of these spells don't really matter currently, but that's fine. Let's go ahead and try this out. This is a pretty simple wand build, and we'll scale it up. So we are dealing damage, and it is significant damage. Let's see how the bounces look. I find the chances of that bouncing back and hitting me in the face to be pretty low. And let's go ahead and try to speed ourselves up a little bit. Remember, recharge is our limiting factor, and we don't have any way of beating that out right now, so that's just kind of a shame. This would make a great teleport wand. This could be our digging wand, potentially. And I guess we'll do something along this line. Dump this wand. Very happy to have this as a teleport wand. And we'll just place this on for digging, and then on top of that, we can put some storage on. I guess we might as well put the crit on here, because we've got mana to spare with this thing. It's going to be quite spectacular for that. And double spell can sneak in here. All of these multicasts can go in here without any issue. And let's see here. Because it's inside of a timer, they have no bearing on the direction the shot is being fired. These are basically just all being nullified outside of the mana costs, which are still being paid, but we have the mana to pay, so it's not really a problem. And now, I'm wondering if we're, like, Pyramid Boss ready. We might be. Pyramid Boss is always something that I entertain on many of my runs, assuming I have the mobility to go around and look at it. Hey, wait a second. I'm missing... Oh, right. I left the wand behind. I was wondering where my digging bolt was, but it's on the wand that's over here. Digging bolt is reduced recharge, which we could potentially use to make our wand shoot fast. I'm lucky. Let's grab this thing. I forgot how spectacular this wand is. We could very well end up using that wand as well. Really going to be a matter of personal preference, I think. But all of our wands are just... we're blessed this time with great wands, and it's difficult to choose what to use. If we get more mana, obviously this wand would be spectacular, but I think until we get something like that, this wand is not as good as it might initially seem. And let's go ahead and put this double right here. We gotta move this double over. So the way that this is going is this counts 1 and then 2 and then 1, 2. And then we need a spell wrap, which we can use this double for. That way we can shoot a little bit faster. Now we're shooting at a pretty nice rate, actually. It's not too shabby. These digging bolts are very dangerous, though. I need to pull Bloodlust off, but then I'm not doing any damage, which is the real problem. Actually, it says I am still dealing damage. What kind of damage do you think I'm doing? I'm not entirely certain. It's not digging bolt damage. Concentrated light deals... I need to go test this on an enemy. I'm actually not sure why it's doing damage. Well, one of the funny things about new spells is I don't know how they fricking work. So we gotta find out together. Yeah. Alright, let's do it. We might be able to get this thing to shoot even faster, now that I think of it. Let's put this double spell up here. And this goes here, and this goes here. We want the glimmer at the front here so that we've got more reduction. And the idea behind this setup... The idea behind this setup is this fires, and then it wraps back around and it fires everything again. And I guess this can be, like, right here. It's the same speed. The same speed because it was already spell wrapping. I think I had an extra double spell in there that I wasn't supposed to. These wands can get messy sometimes. This thing has lower recharge time, funny enough. I think we're going to be able to make this wand work. Assuming we don't run out of mana horribly, which is well within reality by the looks of it. We're going to dump the homing and keep the crit. We'll take a look at how this fires. Oh my goodness. I completely forgot about the always cast. Let's take a look if this applies any cast delay. 0.33 cast delay. That's a... Ow! That's a lot. And it hurts. Okay. Gotta keep an eye out for those always casts. It's something that I use the really good ones most of the time. This one, not really that good. I think we're going back to this build over here. Pretty happy with this one. But I think we might as well just put these over here. Note that as long as these are like within the range, so if this is here, this is applying retroactively to these as well because of the way the spell block works. So that's kind of nice. There we go. So the double spell's grabbing those, and then I just put this at the back, and now we're wrapping again. You can see in the background here how that's working. You can see the extra double spell. Pretty nice. Pretty good. What do? I should make one of these my teleport wand. I guess this one can become my teleport wand. This really small wand is quite good, but you know, it's one of those things where its potential for growth is limited. And it sucks to give up a wand that you think is pretty good, but sometimes it's necessary to at least get moving, right? Can't spend all day humming and hawing over wands. Got places to be. And I guess we'll... you know, I don't think we need Pyramid Boss. Pyramid Boss, the main reason to kill him is for his wand, and we've got great wands, so let's just carry on. We could theoretically kill the Alchemist super early, but I'm not really feeling the need to do that either. We should be quite alright without. Explosion immunity is just like one of the best perks in the entire game, and it means I'm immune to propane tanks, which extends my longevity on the next floor a significant amount. Spiral Shot is very interesting to me. It increases lifetime and deals damage for free. And once again, I guess the mantra of today's lesson is if you can get something for nothing in Noita, you should, because it's really good. We're going to take this HP up now, because there's a little bit less that I need to do in this floor than I did on the previous ones. I spent a lot of time on that previous floor, because I find the quality of wands, and well, specifically the quality of spells, is particularly high. You can get some spectacular spells out of that floor with a little bit of luck. How do I think we made out? I think we made out pretty well, overall. Not like the best we could have, but pretty good. Just avoid these, blow them up from behind. I'm taking a lot of fire damage this time around. I'm not a big fan of killing medics like that, but sometimes it's got to be done just to move things along. You can take a lot of damage trying to save medics. Watch out for the green light in this floor, because that guarantees a rather scary enemy. I'm going to get these things away from us. Just going to pop this guy. And that propane tank is in the perfect spot to blow this tank up, hopefully. There we go. Nice little chain reaction. Pretty good. Sneak around here. Those propane tanks, they'll get you. Gotta be careful. I'm very happy to have gotten explosion immunity when I did. It's quite nice. Or it's quite a nice one to have. But yeah, once again, we're not using the spark trigger wand, which is something that I'm happy about. This wand isn't spectacular, but it's making good use of the reductions in what I have, which is nice. And we've got spitter timers now. Spitter timer's very, very strong. That's a medic dead. Medics do love to die. It's one of those things. So spitter timer opens up the possibility of using spiral arc. And also bypassing this always cast null shot. I really don't know how null shot works as an always cast because it's a brand new spell. I'm sure we'll learn more about that, and depending on how far in the future you are, or how far in the future you are in terms of your wand building capabilities, you may already know how it works. But yeah, it's a very interesting spell that can do quite a few weird things. Whenever there's like little typos or anything strange about a new spell, they tend to have like a couple of quirks, and I do believe null spell to be one of those. Spell order is becoming increasingly important in Noita, which I think is a good thing. I think it adds to the complexity of the game. And it's definitely one of those spells where the spell order matters quite a lot. This guy's just gonna kill himself. That's classic medic behavior. Oh my goodness. A little bit of damage there. This wall here. This wand spawn can often have a lot of PC nearby, so it's pretty important to get there before anybody else does. If you ever see a wand disappear in the darkness, you know someone's picked it up. And that's when you have to take things a lot slower. You might have been noticing that I'm making my way toward the left of the map here. That is with purpose. In Hisi base, there's a secret side shop that appears either on the left or the right. It's a 50-50. I won the 50-50 because, you know, left gang. Left gang, best gang, because if you have black holes, you can just, like, black hole over anyway and just completely ignore the fact that you didn't guess the puzzle right. Right gang is pretty good, too. If you're a broken wand holder, you know, they can be pretty nice. But I value my my slots pretty highly, all of my item slots. That said, this time we're not making the best use of them. Slots are pretty amazing. I'm a little sad I haven't come across an unstable teleportatium flask yet. But I do imagine that's still possible. The chances that it gets me back up is pretty high. It's one of the easier ways to get back up. That's one of the things you always need to think about in Noita, regardless of the length of your run outside of, like, literal speedruns. You should always ask yourself, how do I plan on getting back up? Can I get back up? Should I get back up? There are some runs where you just get forced down and you'll never go back up. Got 2 medics here. Let's go ahead and clear. Yep, they're safe. So 2 safe medics. Means I can easily farm them. Oops, whoopsie. That happened. Alrighty. This flask, or this thing should be get-toable. Hey, Michaela, what's up? Yeah, I can be done pretty soon. Alright, so you can see we used a little bit of water there, and now we can put in the concentrated mana. We'll open this up, and we want to make sure that the... Oh, geez. That's spooky. Get a little closer attention there. We don't want this to be eating up all our gold. And we did manage to get all of that. This wand is not terribly helpful to us. The personal fireball thrower is pretty nice, but... Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's a little bit situational. I'm not a big fan. But somebody on the previous video was talking about how it's a free kill on Alchemist. I find it to be a little bit slow for that, but it definitely can be used for that. If you want a really safe method, you can just shoot him once and then run away. And the fireball thrower will kill them eventually. It's funny because personal fireball thrower makes Alchemist think he's on fire, but he actually can't be set on fire. So he'll like run over to water or the nearest liquid and start dipping himself in. It's really funny. This is another explosion immunity I don't need. Gamba is funny, but it could ruin the run, so I'm not gonna risk it. We got Lucky Minion. Lucky Minion is improved. That's fun. So if I wanted to update this wand, I can do something like this. And this. I don't need both of these on here. My wand is a little bit messy, that's for sure. Let's try this out. That's running out of mana, for obvious reasons. This is 30 mana. This is my primary reduction, which is the big thing. You know, this is minus point... Oh, you know what? Hang on. I think we can make this work, so hear me out. This wand has really low cast delay. Glimmer reduces cast delay, as well as a spitter timer. If I put this inside the payload, I don't have to worry about cast delay anymore. We can take away the short-range homing, because it's really not that necessary. And then we can add in some more recharge reduction. This is 0.17, this is 0.25. We don't need the inside of our payload to be precise, so that's just free. And then this double spell will wrap back around. And now we've got some big damage. That's pretty sweet. So now we've got a good wand. Spitter timer is just as good as spark bolt trigger, in my opinion. It's less used, so I'm gonna say it's fair game. These linear arcs, once again, free damage. Literal free damage. Let's go ahead and pick up our big wand again. We want to hold on to that because it's very nice. Homebringer has a couple uses, by the way, but it's more of a late game spell. If you want to see that used at some point, let me know, and maybe we'll do like a super end game run. Okay, cool. Pick up our HP because I'm not too worried about it. Electric arc is nice if we get electric immunity. You want both electric and explosion immunity if you're going to use electric arc. It's pretty dangerous, but if you got everything you need for it, then go crazy. It's really strong. So our wand is really, really nice for a bunch of different reasons. The primary reason is that it's a super spammable and fairly safe wand that deals a lot of damage. This is your quintessential machine gun trigger into imagination. The nice part about this one is it does dig a little bit. Probably use it for digging. You'll find that if you add lifetime to digging bolt, it becomes significantly worse at digging. And yes, that is not your imagination. This wand does generate a fair amount of lag. If you increase the lifetime of digging bolt, it'll do that. But you know what? It's free bullet time, so I'll take it. I'll take it. Jungle, one of the best places to get really great gear out of. This is a pretty nice wand, but obviously we are... we've got better already. I'm going to eat a lot of this worm blood so that way I can see through walls. It's just very handy. Vision is one of the most valuable things in Noita. It's really hard to quantify how useful it is, but I can assure you that you will take a lot less damage if you know where your enemies are coming from. It's one of those things. Rip through everyone. We've got 7,800 gold, which is spectacular. Getting back up is still my biggest concern, by the way, on my way down here. You can see the new effect, that massive, like, white thing that was surrounding me. That's the Lukey spider teleporting to my location. They're a lot more aggressive about keeping the Lukey spider near the player now, which means they're less likely to despawn, which is really, really nice. We're going to go kill Dragon, because Dragon is one of the best ways to generate a great wand. This spot right here activates the Dragon super early. Note that they can get a pretty good lunge if you activate from the top, but I personally think it's still worth it because, you know, it's quick. And I do factor speed into a lot of things in this game, just because of my speedruns. By the way, if you're interested in seeing like all bosses speedruns or things like that, you can learn a lot about how to kill a boss from those speedruns. It's pretty cool. And a lot of them are labeled with the exact timing of each boss, so it's pretty easy to jump around. Go ahead and cut through this wall here. We'll see what other goodies we've got. I'm hoping to find one or two more things here. We'll see. Remember, we're explosion immune. I like to remind myself of my immunities because I often forget. Auto-aim is basically cheapo homing. If your spell has acceleration, you put it on a payload, and it'll kind of fire toward it. It's kind of nice, but I don't really have a wand to take advantage of that currently, so we're not going to bother with it. We will go without. Be careful about the liquid detonating we've been doing. For the most part, things have been going pretty smoothly with it, which is nice. It's Firecracker. If it were Explosive Bounce, I'd give it a try. Firecracker might be the literal worst spell in the entire game. Its only use case is that you can transform explosions into gunpowder, which is like useful on like maybe just nuke and nothing else. It's so specific, but it's something, I guess. Every spell has a use, sort of. Hey, more money. Up to 9K, which is just an absurd amount of money. I find the runs that I have the most money on are the runs that I don't find the things I want on. Just blow up this metal pixel fairy guy. Bit of a frick. Hopefully we can make an upgrade down here. Probably some sort of Uko, if I had to guess. Nothing super fancy down there. We've got unlimited spells, which is pretty fantastic. We could definitely use that to our advantage. I think we're gonna do that. Unlimited spells is just kind of crazy. Deer does okay damage. It's actually got the fastest piercing rate in the game, but that's so specific for use case. I don't think we can use it in this situation. I'll keep one for later, though. Freeze Charge is great, but it falls off after jungle, so the chances that I use that now are increasingly low. This wand is okay. It would shoot faster than this wand. At this point, I think I'm pretty committed to these 3 wands, or at least these 2 wands. And the other ones I'm just going to look to improve. So hopefully we can do that. And I'll take both of these. So there isn't anything really great here. This wand would be spectacular if you were lacking. But we are definitely not. I'm going to take another little sip here. I'm seeing more of these green pixels around. I don't know what's causing those. Very peculiar. I don't know what happened to my sound. It appears to be a little bit broken. Might do a quick little mod restart here just to fix it. Yeah, let's fix our sound. Hey, there's Black Hole. All right, well that helps a lot. We're gonna buy that. It's very expensive, but it's worth it. So if you go into mods, you don't need to have any mods on to do this, but you just hit restart with enabled mods active. And that way you don't have to save quit and then reload your game. It's pretty handy. Yeah, it's not one of those things that comes up. I mean, it comes up pretty regularly, to be honest. I was going to say it doesn't come up often, but then I thought about it, and I'm like, no, that comes up literally every single run, pretty much. So you'll save yourself a lot of time with that little trick. Keep in mind, we've got pretty much every immunity under the sun, so there's not a lot that we have to worry about outside of bullets. Pretty darn nice. Plasma beams are great, but we've already got Plasma Cross we've held on to. That will be more than enough for us. We don't have really good digging currently, but once we get into the next floor, that will change, I'm sure. One immunity, or a couple immunities that we are missing are the damage over time immunities. The fire and the toxic sludge immunity will be pretty great here. Just gonna cruise through this floor. There's like no reason to spend too much time on this floor for the most part. It's just not super high value stuff. Square barrier is pretty good, but don't really need it. And I think this is reroll central for me. Pinpointer is nice because it increases the speed of spells. That's the main one that I'm considering here. It would be very nice for my black holes. I think I will take it for that reason. So, I think this is going to become my black hole wand. And we're going to pair it with a couple of projectiles. I don't have a ton of projectiles. Sometimes it's nice to just hold on to some projectiles. This projectile actually increases your speed on stuff as well. I'm going to do a bit of a risky play, and I'm going to Mato Sade all these down, because I definitely want Slime Ball, Orbit, Larpa, and increased lifetime. I think all of those could be pretty useful immediately. We're going to do that, and I'm going to adjust this wand. Actually, let's just, like, place some of these down. I'm not ever going to use unlimited acid at this point. That's not super helpful. And Orb with Timer is not super great. But yeah, I want to get out of the way because there's a pretty decent chance of some annoying enemies being down here. So, let's deal with them. And we'll go from there. That's pretty spooky. Some scary stuff right there. There's breakable walls in this biome, and you can tell based on like the texture, and I'll try to show that off. But yeah, this brickwork is destructible for whatever reason. I guess it's just like older or something. Okay, so we want increased lifetime. We want Orbit Larpa, which is up here. Explosion experience, that's not helpful. Oh yeah, all the wasp spells have been changed as of this patch as well. Oh right, hey Steven. I forgot about Steven. It's my bad. Okay. So, we want that on there. We never got Slime Ball. We're gonna need to jump down and grab that. There we go. We want Slime Ball on there, which is gonna increase lifetime. Orbit Larpa is probably gonna be too expensive for what we have. And at this point, I'm willing to give up some of my multicasts. You can definitely take too many, and I think that's where we were at. Pinpointer also makes it so it reduces your spread a whole bunch. So I don't really need any of these reduced spreads anymore. But, yeah, I don't have to worry about spread on this, for example, which is really nice. So it increases the speed of projectiles as well as makes them... makes them aim better, I guess, would be the way to put it. But yeah, I guess we don't need to use anything here to get through this spot. Let's just jump down to the last boss, and then we'll start coming back up. Mato Sade could still be helpful. We'll hold on to it. We don't know if we're going to need it or not, but I find it fairly unlikely. Let's try to save our black holes for the time being. I get the sense that we're going to need to be relatively sparing. This floor is definitely the most dangerous floor in the whole game if you're strong. I think if you're weak, the most dangerous floor in the whole game is the vault. If we're talking main path, of course there's side paths that are incredibly deadly. But for main path, this is one of the biomes where I'm like, I don't want to be here. This isn't the place for me. So we've got a little bit of warm blood here. By a little bit, I mean a lot. We're gonna take advantage of this so that way we can see through walls. I'm trying to take this run as seriously as possible, considering the previous run perished foolishly in the early game. I'd like to get a win. Go. Beautiful. But yeah, if you'd like to see me take or do like no perk runs as well, I'm just trying to think of like more different challenge ways of doing these runs that could be useful and educational to people. That heart just ain't worth it. I'm not going anywhere near that. It's just danger. I think if we can't find a way down, we'll just black hole. That's what we're gonna do. Well, not too shabby. We've got so much money, we're pretty much able to buy another, like, full cost wand. Even if that guy froze me, I wasn't in danger because of my immunity. 6,300 is like the highest expense wand get in the last biome, so we're gonna take a moment just to make that amount of money. I don't know what sort of crazy stuff you can get out of the final floor. There we go. I'm good. Should have another Steve over here to kill. There we go. Alright, so before we kill Colmy, let's go to some parallels really quick. I'm just gonna go to 1. I just want to prove that I can. Okay, so we've got this wand here. We're gonna have a lot of black holes now to work with. I'm just gonna put them all on here. And we got Null Shot as well, which is going to increase the lifetime of these black holes to the nth degree. It's gonna be fantastic. That's actually not true. I don't think it would be the nth degree. I don't know how much that actually is. Maybe that's just is that a variable amount? I don't know. I don't know math. All right, here we go. That's good. And I'll put the increased lifetime on there too, because those stack. And that's pretty good. I could also increase it with Spiral Arc. And if I put it after the... wait. Let's see what the order is. So Null Shot before... I have a lot of black holes, so let's play. Null Shot before Spiral Arc gives me a straight black hole. Null Shot after Spiral Arc gives me a spiral black hole. So you want Null Shot before Spiral Arc if you want to negate the spiral from that. That's a whole thing that's probably worth considering. If you're looking to min-max your lifetime as much as possible, you could obviously use that on something like a what's the word? You could use that on an Infiniwisp, for example. That would be a good use of it. Let's take extra perk here. And we're going to go ahead and get the heck out of here. So, like, this wall right here should be pretty safe. Fun fact, you can actually dig through this whole area with just about anything. So you can see that this is, like, diggable ground. That darker red is EDR. So you've got extremely dense rock, and then you've got dense rock. Dense rock can be dug through with just about anything. Spark bolt, teleport. It takes a long time, but if you've got the ability to, you'll end up around here. And this is one way that you can come back up if you don't have black holes. It sucks really hard if you don't have good digging, but it can be done. And pretty much any run can be continued if you force it hard enough. Once again, I don't think some runs are worth it. Sometimes you should just eat the L and carry on with your day. Go do a fresh run. It can be faster to do a fresh run than it can to, like, do anything else. So we're going to go ahead and... Wow, look at how far this black hole went. This is actually crazy. This is kind of nuts. You can see these are relatively quick black holes, too, thanks to the pinpointer as well. This is nuts. I can't believe how far these are going. These are absolutely spectacular. I can't believe how good these are. Null Shot definitely gets a big thumbs up from me as far as spells go. This is obviously one of the most simple uses of Null Shot, but I think it is a rather handy spell to have. That's my other black hole. It was just the way the chunk loaded that caused that problem. Okay. So, I'm gonna gather, like, a couple of orbs. That way we can have a little bit of a stronger boss to fight. Let's see if we can find some cool stuff. So, you can, like, listen for this orb and find the right spot based on that. Sometimes I mess up, but... You can also go based off of the formations. It's the exact same every single time, which is pretty handy. Okay, let's head over this way. We're gonna go right parallel world. Right parallel world just feels a little more convenient to get to, probably due to the essence eater, or the earth essence being over there. Not to mention we get to kill another boss on the way. We'll get to flex our damage output. We could kill Alchemist, but honestly, with this amount of black holes, we don't even have to. We are literally fine, which is rare. And I would kill Alchemist eventually on this run anyway, because that's just convenient. It's convenient to have, like, just one black hole filling your inventory rather than an entire inventory of black holes. But back in my day, we didn't have the freaking Greek letters, unlimited healing, and all that sort of jank. If you wanted unlimited healing, you had to make an Infiniwisp and have it follow you around everywhere. This is garbage. But we could use that to summon the gate boss. Definitely want to do an all bosses run in this series at some point. Show off all the different boss kills. There are many, many ways to kill most of the bosses, but there tends to be a couple of really specific ways that are fairly common and really easy to replicate. And I'd like to show those off. Alrighty. I always love looking at the background in Noita up on the surface. There's so many interesting structures in the background. We've got 387 life. That's not a lot to play around with. It's a fair point. Fair point, me. I'm not super fast. This is a little spooky. I'm pretty sure I could make it, but I'm not going to risk it, because I don't see why I would. Let's spend a little bit of extra time trying to get a little bit stronger. If we find, like, an ambrosia, that's all we really need. But there's loads of places I can get some extra HP, and this seems like a good place to start. So we've got a full heal waiting for us. Got lots of enemies to kill, lots of places to check for the flask that I need. Gotta be careful not to break them with all these black holes. Keep in mind we are explosion immune, but the primary damage dealers here are going to be the pollen throwers and the acid. So those are the things that we're going to be afraid of. And other than that, well, I guess flask too could be scary. That's Flum, aka disappointing ambrosia. Pheromone. I'm not gonna go around breaking them all. It's polymorph. I'm not breaking that either. That's some scary stuff. This is also a good place to find some great wands. If you ever want to like go somewhere to get strong early, you can spend a little bit of time here. This place is key if you're looking to do a no main biomes run. I can't imagine trying to pull a no main biomes run without it. That's another video that I've got in the wings. I've done a couple of them before. No main biomes, all bosses specifically, because if you do no main biomes, it's the most boring thing on planet Earth, because you can just go win every single time, guaranteed. But if you're interested in seeing that, I guess we could do that at some point. But I definitely have to make like a fast forwarding of it, because it would be pain. Wow, that's a wand. We got a mana on there. Look at that. It's definitely a wand to hold on to for later. Drills are pretty nice, but they're not what I'm after. There's loads of flasks, but we're just not getting the one we need. You know what? With the amount of HP I have, acceleration works. I can make do with that. We'll go get the full heal, and then we'll go from there. That seems decent enough to me. Let's get out of here. Oh, hey. It's explosive bounce. Oh, my God. There's ambrosia. Frick. Okay, hang on. We don't need slime. Let's pour out some slime. I only need, like, 2% of ambrosia, so this is perfect. I'll just scrape up a little bit of this, and then we'll go to a parallel world. Pick up an orb, and we'll be good to go. There's quite a few different runs surrounding going to parallel worlds, by the way. And they're quite worth doing. They're a lot of fun. Parallel worlds is like, that's how you become a god in Noita a lot of the time. You can definitely ascend to godhood in main world, but if you want to like go to new game pluses, that's where you become a true god. It's parallel worlds, because you get so many extra perks. And we'll show that off too, because we might as well go down on a fresh path. We'll have a chance to make another wand. And with this extra mana, I've got a couple of options, especially with explosive projectile. Wow, okay, we've got a bunch of really cool stuff to play around with. That new wand that we picked up is Christmas. It's perfect. Okay. So, If you move with Ambrosia, it comes off pretty quick, but teleporting is very minimal movement. So it doesn't take that much off, especially if you're not falling. That's a scary guy. Okay, so we're through. And yeah, now basically all we have to worry about is parallel world bosses. Basically just don't look to them, don't talk at them, all that sort of thing. Just ignore them. Just walk past. You'll be okay, maybe. There's a chance you won't be okay, but you know, that's the dice we roll. That is the dice we roll. I'm loving these black holes, by the way. They're spectacular. Fun fact, you can actually kill Alchemist in parallel worlds if you're into that sort of thing. I don't think we will bother because we don't really need to. And our wand kind of sucks for it, to be honest. But I'm going to be converting into an... Wow, that's a really cool sky island. I wish I could have taken a picture of that. Oh, that's also a really nice sky island. I have to take pictures of those. I'll go back and take a picture of something. It's fine. Okay. I'm trying to kill me with music. That's normally my thing. Okay. Let's drop down here. I'm just going to go ahead and black hole our way through. So the most important thing to know about parallel worlds is that if you go into a parallel world portal, it'll take you back to main world. So don't do that. You got to use some form of strong digging to get through. But if you've made it to a parallel world, your digging is probably strong enough to get in through that little area anyway. It's not too bad. Should have a Scode to deal with after the next. And now that we've got electricity immunity, things are going to get very silly. Let's go ahead and do a rebuild. It's definitely time. This is a no-shuffle wand with Fizzle. Fizzle's pretty bad, but that's okay. I don't think it's going to cause too much of a negative, because we're going to go for like a... We're going to go for something, that's for sure. I'm going to strip most of the stuff off of this wand, and then we'll start talking about the things that we've left on it, because they're the things that we'll probably be using. I've already got a short-range homing, and 2 is good. 2 is definitely good. You can use those in tandem in the right situation. Earthquake is cool. I'll hold on to that. Okay, so explosive projectile plus freezing gaze is pretty good. If you use it... Oh, oops, that's not the right one. Hang on. Let me try again, but with the correct wand. So if you use it like this, it does the full explosive projectile damage. Note that is not safe to the player, though. You'll see it saying blocked. So you get an absurd amount of damage, but it isn't entirely safe to the player. So that's definitely a thing to keep in mind. But it's just such dummy damage. It's extremely worth it. So we're gonna do that. And yeah, we'll see if we can get it shooting fast. That would be great. We definitely have 2 mana, so that's 60. We have to deal with 30 and 45 here. We might be able to take the drill off of this wand and make it fast. The Castellet reduction on this is 0.0... This adds Castellet reduction. I apologize. Castellet, it's not even reduction at that point. This also reduces Castellet by a small amount. And it'll increase the lifetime of Spitterbolt, which is probably worthwhile. So I'll do that. And, let's see here. How can I improve this thing? I'm not entirely certain if this is going to work. We'll have to try it out. But a double spell here. Oops, not on the ground. In my hand. Double spell in my hand, right here. There we go. So that's not shooting nearly as fast as I would like it to, for obvious reasons. One of those reasons being the recharge time itself. But it looks like we're dealing with Castellet. A good way to test on whether you're dealing with Castellet or recharge time, a really organic way to test, is you just click as fast as you can. And if you see a blue bar show up, that means you're dealing with Castellet, not recharge time. Sometimes it'll say Castellet. But yeah, otherwise, if you're dealing with an orange bar, then you're dealing with recharge time. So we're dealing with Castellet, which means that this setup is increasing my Castellet by too much. Concentrate spells could help mitigate that, potentially, but it comes at a great cost of nullifying one of the manas. And at that point, I don't think that it's even worth doing what we're doing. Yeah. I mean, like, I don't need to shoot more than that anyway. So I'm gonna say that that's fine. Let's play with this for a little while. The other option is I could get rid of the spitter timer entirely, but I kind of like having the spitter timer. I think it's really helpful. It's really helpful to have a payload delivery method. And right now, this is only doing freezing and explosive damage, and there are several enemies that are immune to either or both, so we're going to make sure we have some projectile damage applied to that as well. And Spark Bolt Trigger will give me some extra crit, and so will the extra crit, obviously. Double Spell can go down here, this can go here. You know what? Man, this is my new black hole wand, I decided. We're going to get rid of our super big wand. It's been causing slight issues anyway. We're going to go ahead and put these next to each other so that way I can transfer stuff over faster. There we go. Beautiful. And yeah, this one's donezo. It was nice knowing you. But it's time to get out of my inventory. All right, let's go grab, let's go grab a, whatchamacallit? What do you call those things? Hey, that's a shield. Enemies can't shoot static projectiles. There's actually quite a few different types of shots enemies can't shoot. But that's one of them. That's pretty handy knowledge. But I believe if it's paired with a projectile first, that's the one time they can shoot it. So you should be wary of that. I'm going to go and do a quick murder. That's the game plan. I've got a little bit of inventory space that I need to make up for. Did you know that chunk of soil actually scales with explosive projectile? It scales its explosion radius, which is really handy. There's a couple different things that do that. Acid is another one, but it's pretty specific. It's not like the greatest use case, but there's definitely times where I've had it come in handy. This guy is not dying as quick as I would like. We're not getting the explosions. Oops. Thankfully, we're very immune to a lot of his damage, so I'm not having to deal with much. Wander Refresh is great here. Tau is pretty good. Phi is pretty good. And we have room for all of them. So we've got quite a lot of black holes. We're going to go straight down from here. And the purpose behind that is we're going to be able to go and gather an orb right away in a parallel world. It's pretty nice. It's a fair ways down. Couldn't be too much further than this, though. I might be... what is happening? Oh, hey. Hello. You can find gourds randomly around the map. These things heal you. They're pretty handy. These guys can be a little bit rude sometimes. They'll just spit at you. But, yeah, this guy gets stronger the more of these guys you kill, and it's like a global thing. It's pretty nuts. We're just gonna murder the big guy. I don't have the ability to kill the smaller ones. Or I don't have the ability to kill the big one if I don't kill the smaller ones first. So we're doing that. Alright, let's go right here, because I think I took a wrong turn at Albuquerque. One of those things. Which is a big map. Oh, hey. The eye room. Yeah, so we were a little bit too far to the right. Now, where does this eye take me? I think the first eye that you take will always take you to the same place, and it's in a parallel world. Let's find out. So, yes. Maybe? No? Is this main world? I think we're in main world, right? Yes, we are in main world. Okay. Well, we didn't ever gather that cursed orb we wanted up, but that's fine. I'm not too worried about it. Let's carry on. We're going to go and complete this run now. I'm pretty happy with what I've done. In the future, I'll do more with parallel worlds. Maybe we'll do like a 33 orb run or something. That could be kind of fun. But that will be a long one. That said, Michaela's waiting for me for dinner, so we'll have to call this one here. But hopefully this was useful for people. And I'm sorry that this one wasn't a little longer. I'm sure that we could get a little bit more out of this one. You know what? Let's quickly adjust our wand so we can have unlimited spells. So there's a bunch of different ways of doing it, but we're just going to use Tau. Tau is going to be efficient. There we go. And is there any funny stuff I can do with this thing really quick? Probably. Let's quickly go over that. So explosive projectile should be activating on the freezing gaze. Oh yeah, I should talk about this wand order. So we've got null shot, add mana with purple glimmer, double spell, concentrated light, digging bolt. That's my first spell block. My second spell block is double spell, grabbing spitter timer, and then this double spell gets put on hold and we shoot the payload. So this draws into explosive projectile, which draws into heavy spread, which draws into linear arc, which draws into double spell, which draws into critical plus and spiral arc. And because it's a double spell, it's grabbing both of these. So it doesn't matter on the order. These are the same. There's a die rolling, by the way. Fun. So yeah, basically the draws are all counted for. And this grabs 1/2. But this double spell then needs to resolve, and it wraps back around to the front and grabs increased mana, or null shot, increased mana, purple glimmer, double spell, concentrated light, digging bolt. So here, let me show you. You can kind of see the shot 1 and shot 2, and you can see the shot 2. This is back at the front, so we're basically getting double mana value out of that, which is a pretty handy little tool. That's a better example of how much damage you're doing. I didn't really show that off earlier. If I hold down left click. Keep in mind that because these are coming off of a spitter timer, because they're coming off of a trigger of any kind, when they hit the statue, it's showing double the damage that it should be doing. So you can really under or overestimate your damage based on that. This is only 20 mana, and it's really cool with homing. Let's go ahead and change our build again. I'm gonna put this and this on, and this. And now we're gonna be able to shoot a lot less, but our wand's gonna be a lot stronger. And we could use Tau to make 2 of those, so I'm going to do that. And now we're not gonna be able to shoot nearly as much, but that's okay, because we're gonna be able to have crazy permanent circle of shielding stuff going on. At least I'm hoping. So let's make sure we're counting this out properly. Whenever I'm not sure if I've got enough of these, I just make sure that I space them out right. So this is 1, this is 2, and then okay. So I'm just gonna swap this out for a quad. So let's see here. Yeah, that's looking a little better. We got to keep an eye on our mana though. That should just be going crazy pretty much permanently. All right, let's go for it. I think this probably be a triple, to be honest. But it works pretty much the same regardless, so it's not something I need to worry about. We're not rapid firing our wand anymore. Or we're not intending to rapid fire our wand anymore, so we're not going to worry too much about that. Oops. I took the Tau off of that, so now I don't have unlimited black holes. Let's go back up really quick and put our Phi on. Phi should work just the same. I'm going to want to get rid of most of these, though, because I'm going to have, like, a gargantuan cast delay if I don't. And, yeah, that should work. Recharge time can be reduced, but I don't think we're going to need to worry about that. And, yeah, that should be good. This isn't shooting nearly as fast as I'd like, because we don't have enough projectiles paired. So, are there any projectiles we can get here? I mean, I guess we can use these. They're a little bit on the expensive side. But, in theory, we could go 1, 2, 3. And that'll work. Not sure if that's terribly much faster, but we'll give it a try. Remember, pinpointer is increasing the speed. That enemy just got deleted. So yeah, these bubbles are incredibly deadly. If you had, like, repulsion, you could send them flying around. One thing to note about these things, though, specifically Circle of Shielding, is that if you get polymorphed, obviously you'll die. If you get berserked, they will not recognize you as their owner, and they will kill the shit out of you. Assuming they have damage. If you're only using electric arc to deal damage with them, they'll be safe. But or damage field. Damage field is another great example of when you could make them completely safe. But other than that, they're going to be pretty dangerous for the player. if you don't watch out for very specific liquids. In fact, that goes for pretty much all homing. I wouldn't recommend homing pretty much ever unless you're specifically interested in doing a stupid amount of damage at the consequence of potentially killing yourself instantly. Because, yeah, that's very much how that tends to play. You can really see our mana draining. We don't have a ton of max mana with this setup. But that said, our damage is immense. It's very, very nice. Go ahead and cast one of these and watch out for the earthquakes, because that will do a lot of damage to me. I imagine these worms are my own. I can see a little bit of damage coming out of the circles of shielding there. Circle of Shielding is one of the best homing spells in the entire game because it can just go straight through walls without caring. That goes for all the Circle ofs, but Circle of Shielding lasts a really long time. It's a really strong offensive spell when you put a couple things on it. Defensively, it's pretty good too, but it requires you to sit in one spot, which is always a little bit awkward to do, I would say. Alrighty, we're back. Well, I appreciate you sticking around and letting me yammer your ears off. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you very much. I appreciate that a lot. Keep in mind this boss has some orbs. We're gonna play it safe. Just gonna wait for his shield to drop and then we'll fire on him. Keep in mind, Ambrosia would be a nice way to keep myself safe as well. Boss surviving my attacks, imagine that. Earthquake would have killed him instantly, by the way. Might have been the superior strat. My own shields are being used against me. How dare you? Yeah, you can see I've frozen myself with that one. It's fun. There we go. All right. We've got our win. Hopefully you saw some new things. Hopefully you learned something today. I appreciate you watching very much. And yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Once again, please do let me know what direction you'd like to see this series going. If you'd like to see challenges, or if you'd like to see a seed you've lost on, or anything like that. I am here to entertain. I am here to hopefully teach. And yeah, I will catch you all next time. Thank you very much for watching all the way through once again. Leave a like or something. I don't know. You don't have to. That'd be cool. All right. Goodbye.